Welcome back, everybody, to Goodwill Podcasting with Dan and Stone, your movie podcast that today is talking about You, Me, and Tuscany. That is right. Your eyes do not deceive you. We have a rom-com officially in theaters this past weekend, and we are here to talk about it today. Usually, this genre, unfortunately, has been designated to streaming services, but will it be resurrected with this new entry? We are here to talk about that. We are excited to talk about that. And we're excited to have a first time guest on for Goodwill Podcasting. This is Megan, a friend of mine that I've actually met in person, a very long friend of Dan's, and now a friend of Goodwill Podcasting. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Stone and Dan, for inviting me on. I'm very excited to hop on and talk about this movie.
So, do you want to tell people about yourself just a little bit and like what you cover and what you like to talk about and just your content in general?
I'm Megan. I talk about movies and just pop culture on my Instagram and TikTok at Meganzworld. I also have a podcast too called Tea and Popcorn. Well, we spill the tea on all things in movies. So it's a film podcast space for women who are really interested in film, but I'm also diving in a little bit into pop culture as well. So it's a safe space to talk about all things movies.
Interesting. Did you get to talk about the drama at all? I feel like there might have been a lot of tea behind the scenes with that.
I did.
Okay.
I did. So I that was my most recent episode on the drama, and it was a very fun episode to record and talk about because it's just like there's so much that you could talk about relating to this film, because like you could talk about the behind the scenes stuff or you could talk about the film itself, but the film itself is so juicy. I was like, I just have to do a deep dive on it. So that's my latest episode at the time of this recording. Just a deep dive on the themes, and I think this film really does explore whether or not love is truly unconditional. So that is my main talking point of that. So we explore that in that episode.
Did you like the film? Because I tried to describe it to Dan because he hasn't seen it, and I thought I was describing it in a way that he would find interesting. But I feel like the more and the more I talked about it, the more he was like, "I don't think I want to watch that at all."
You know what? My first time watching it, it took me a while to digest it. I was just almost, do I actually like this film or do I not? Like, it was really hard because it is a very controversial film, whether it be actually in the universe of the film, but also behind the scenes too, because there was some controversy with the director and all that. But I think I really do enjoy the film by itself within the vacuum and within the world of the film. And I do like how thought provoking it is. I do like how dark it is too. And I just think it's a fantastic piece of media in general. And again, it's a good story to start conversations because the characters are very, very flawed.
Dan, have you seen people talking about it at all? Do you like sit and watch people talk about it? Or you're just like, I've watched the movie, I have no interest.
Uh, I've seen people talking about it. I guess I don't know. I don't really want to get too far into it. I don't really find it that interesting, to be totally honest. Um, I don't know. People seem to like talking about it though.
Yeah, the big thing that a friend of mine who gave it was so funny. A friend of mine gave the movie a 1 star. She did not like it at all, but she did have a funny post afterwards where her and her friends were in the lobby of like an AMC and they're like, "What's the worst thing you've ever done?" And it's like just like looking at each other, just like, do we talk about this right now? Because that's the whole catalyst of the entire movie. So I told Dan, I presented him also. I'm like, what if your partner did this? Like, what would you do? And he's like asking all these questions. So it's a little intriguing, a little intriguing.
Yeah,
But
I think it's really
Mhm.
hard, like, especially I think thinking about his movie Dream Scenario, like knowing he's a predator and like you could probably use the word pedophile. I think it's just really weird to like make a movie about being judged by your past, right? Like, because I think it's really easy to see how maybe he, especially thinking about Dream Scenario again, like, I think it's impossible to ignore who the person is when you're looking at stuff like that. So that's why I just find it like not that interesting. I think like Predators. And especially people like that are talking about idolizing Woody Allen, like just get them out of the industry. Because like the more they make art, the more other predators will feel comfortable expressing themselves also as predators and pedophiles. So
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at.
I was telling Dan and Megan about the whole flashback scenes with Zendaya and her as like a young child and with like Robert Pattinson. I was like,
Yes.
a
Oh my
little,
gosh.
little off-putting there.
That.
Couldn't not think about the
Yes.
director at that point.
And I was talking to
So
Mo about it too, and he said there
Exactly.
was like a
Yes.
direct, like some kind of direct reference in there to like a pedophile who like didn't act on being like in some scene at a dinner or something. So I'm just like, this guy needs to fucking stop making movies. There's no place for that, especially in the world right now.
but what we do need in the world right now is more rom-coms. And I wanted to talk about just the state of romantic films. So the drama, it's so funny that we have two different examples of what a 2026 romantic film can look like. It can look like You, Me, and Tuscany, and then it can look also like the drama, which it's very, I would say, very lighthearted in You, Me, and Tuscany, very safe, very comforting, and then the drama is very polarizing. But I was looking back at all the movies that have come out recently that are romance films, and I mean, we have The Materialists, which me and Dan aren't big fans of. Megan, did you like The Materialists?
You know what? It grew on me, but I still have problems with the ending. I do have an episode that I'm working on the material list too. So I mean, look out for that whenever that comes out. But yeah, it was so funny because I had like no interest in watching the material list because I thought it was just going to be like a cheesy rom-com. I'm not big on rom-coms in general, but one of my mutuals, he was like talking about like, oh, Megan, you actually like have to watch this film. Vikash from Cinema Pursuits, his podcast, and I'm just like, okay, sure, and I'm like, oh, okay, I could see what you're talking about too, but yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting commentary on dating, especially dating over 30.
That's true. I will say I think it's a little bit light on any com, and it's more just really rom. And I think that's a little bit mismarketing by A24. Also, when it came to the drama too, I think there was a big
Yes,
part that they left out of the drama on purpose so that it could drive conversation after the movie premiered. So I wouldn't. I mean, did you watch Eternity? Is that I know Dan did. Is that would you say
I did
that's a
not.
comedy, Dan?
It's a rom com. Like I think
Okay,
it's
okay.
presented as like light and funny. Um, I was not a big fan of that either.
Okay, I know you didn't like
But
Splitsville, but the one movie that you did like that is I don't know if it's a rom com, but you're the only person who really liked it was A Big Bold Beautiful Journey.
yeah, I would say that wasn't really a comedy. I think it was more of a drama. Um, Splitsville, I would say I was very torn on. Like I kind of liked it. I was kind of down the middle. Um, there was things I liked about it and things I didn't love. Um, yeah, I think the genre in general is really hard. Like I think it shouldn't maybe be hard to make a good film in the genre, but it oftentimes I think people will try to overcomplicate it or make stories that or try to do too much.
I agree.
And this is a movie that I don't think does that, which was nice because like I think sometimes people lose touch with the fact that sometimes we just want to watch like a nice story that like makes you feel good and like is um likable with people that you'd actually want to be around. Like I everything doesn't have to be like so complicated and messy and I don't know.
I will say, Megan, did you watch? It came out earlier this year. I was very surprised by it, and I would say this is more. It feels like a traditional rom com. Is People We Meet on Vacation? It was a Netflix original film.
I have not.
Okay,
No, I
it was
haven't
very
seen
good.
that
We were
one.
talking about the Hunger Games before this. It stars Tom Blythe, who was in The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It stars him and I believe an actress named Emily Bader, and it's an adaptation from a novel by an author named Emily Henry. And speaking of authors, it'd be hard not to mention probably the highest grossing recent romance genre, which is just one single person, which is Colleen Hoover. What are your thoughts on Colleen Hoover movies and stories, Megan?
Oh, that's a interesting question. So I avoided what was that one? It ends with us. I avoided that like a plague. I was just like, I can't. That's not my type of movie. I think it's just gonna be like I just don't like movies just centered around domestic violence. I just don't. I did watch the other one with McKenna Grace. I think that's her name.
Thank goodness,
Um,
regretting you. I
this
have a poster back there, and I cut a hole in
regretting
it
you.
because yeah.
Yes.
What did you think about that?
I did watch Regretting You. I thought it was fine. It's not great, but I thought it was like okay. And I haven't seen the most recent one that came out. But it's kind of crazy. She has a cinematic universe coming going on.
I said there is another movie of hers actually coming out this year that's starring Anne Hathaway and the gentleman from, well, drawing a blank, from Trap. What's that actor's name?
Josh Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett. Yep, he's
Yeah,
going to be in it.
Tyreek Withers. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's called Verity is the name of that. Anne Hathaway's having a huge year, but I've only seen Regretting You. But something I will say, I wouldn't necessarily call it a romance film, but I would call it a thriller. The Housemaid was another big female-driven movie, I would say, for like a film female audience was really going to see that, and I think that's important for them to see. But why I bring up the Housemaid is it seems like recent literary adaptations into recent literary pieces being adapted into movies has been very successful lately. Like The Housemaid did huge numbers. Colleen Hoover's doing huge numbers. So is You, Me, and Tuscany? Now that I think about that, is it an original film? Is it an adaptation from a book?
I think
I
it's original.
believe it's an original film.
That I think
Yeah.
sets it apart from everything we're talking about, which is even cooler because that feels even more old fashioned than being adapted from a book. To be honest.
Yeah, it was an original script from Ryan Engel.
Okay. Cool. Cool. How did you guys like first come across this movie? I'm curious because I talked to my wife and she did not think it was coming out in theaters. And I don't blame her for thinking that because the trailer and on just the genre in general, you see something like this and you're just like, okay, I can't wait to watch this on Netflix. And then it's like, no, it's actually coming to theaters. And I was also surprised when I watched it and a Universal logo popped up. I don't know if they had any part in producing this movie or they were just involved with distributing it. But seeing a Universal logo pop up with a movie like this is cool. But then also makes me think about where was the marketing? Did you guys think it was going to fail? Like what happened here? But yeah, where were you like anticipating this movie, Megan, or
You know what? I was to a certain extent. So I was mostly anticipating it because I really love Halle Bailey. I'm a fan of like her music, Chloe and Halle. So anything that she's in, I'm locked in. She's literally the only reason why I watched The Little Mermaid. Otherwise I would have watched it. So I learned about this movie through her Instagram and I believe one of my mutuals, Simply Simone, she was doing a lot of posts about it and saying that this is the catalyst for, or kind of basically a a case study for Black centered rom coms and like, hey, let's go see this movie type of thing. So I was just like, oh yes, I'm locked in. I'm definitely going to see this in theaters too. I mean, I was going to see it more regardless because I'm a big fan of her work, but as an actress and a singer, but I'm just like, oh no, I gotta check this out too because I want to see more Black centered rom coms and Black centered stories.
And to speak to maybe what both of you guys are your question, Stone, and what you're saying, Megan, the movie was produced by Will Packer, who has his own production company, who's been around for a long time. He produced Think Like a Man, Ride Along, The Wedding Ringer, Girls Trip, Night School, What Men Want. He's been around for a long time. He produced the Academy Awards the year of the slap, actually. But anyway, so it's his production company behind it and Universal doing the distribution. So I think, I mean, to answer your question, I didn't see much marketing for it. And I didn't I had heard like some buzz about it that I feel like was organic. But it's definitely a smaller movie, from a small production company, and I think maybe sometimes the budget isn't quite there for the marketing, so they're relying on like word of mouth, etc. But I agree with you, Megan. I mean, I've talked about it at length, and like Stone was kind of saying, I've really been underwhelmed by so many romances, like over the past few years. And I think we need more good ones, and I think we need like there needs to be more diverse stories in every single way. Like I think people are tired of seeing the upper middle class white people in New York City. I don't care. I don't care. I've seen this shit 1,000 times. I just like I don't care about these people. Um, I want people that feel, and whether it be like race, economic status, anything. Just give me like a story that I don't feel like I've seen a million times. And there's so many settings to play with, and there's so many types of characters, there's so many
Mhm.
professions like we see in this film. There's so many ways you can like spice it up, no pun intended, that make it more interesting. But like, I think sometimes people fall back on the same sort of characters over and over. So um yeah,
Mhm.
it's yeah.
I will say what you're saying. The people we meet on vacation, I think, was a solid movie. The characters do feel a little bit redundant. Do feel like pretty wealthy white couple who could just go to different places and vacation whenever they want to, and they don't have any care in the world about money. Seems like the norm when it comes to. I mean, Dan is not a big fan of what's it called? Anyone But You. That's like number one hated film probably for Dan.
Yeah.
It made a lot of money though.
Yeah.
I I still haven't seen that film, and I don't really plan to. It was so funny. I was doing a content photo shoot with one of my like a photographer that I knew since high school, and she was like talking about Anyone But You. She's like, "Have you seen Anyone But You?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't yet." She's like, "It's the most terrible movie I've ever seen in my life."
Yeah.
Like she
Any
hated
movie with
that,
like
and I'm like,
35
"Okay,
year olds that's
noted."
based on like a misunderstanding that could have been resolved with a 5-second conversation, and that's like I can't take you seriously. Like if y'all can't talk about something for 10 seconds and figure out what happened, I can't get invested in your romantic endeavors. Sorry. But
I would say the main reason why I went and watched this movie, not only because I thought it'd be interesting to talk about on the podcast, was because of what the director said. What you're alluding to, Megan, was I think 3 or 4 days ago, Will Packer, like Dan was mentioning, is the producer of this and his work that you were just talking about. He basically told the Hollywood Reporter, I'm reading the headline right now, about this movie. He says, why Black creatives feel a lot is riding on the success of the rom com You, Me, and Tuscany. And it was crazy as I was reading it. He says, basically the biggest hit for a Black rom com hasn't happened since 2012 with Think Like a Man. So it's been 14 years since a
Mm.
movie like this was even relevant in theaters, which is crazy. And because right before I was going to go see this, Dan's been talking about this movie forever. I watched, in my opinion, a lot better movie, but a Black rom com, which was incredible. Rye Lane. I watched that for the first time before going to see
Yep,
this, and
I
I
knew
was
it.
just it was just so refreshing, and it's so beautiful, and it feels so unique, and it's kind of until the very end like a one night uh story, and I love those. It takes place in one day, and obviously the cast is great. The leads are great, and it was so funny and just feels so fresh. So I'm trying my best to support it, but like yeah, it was cool to see a lot of people go out and try to support this movie even though there was not any marketing. But the budget, I want to talk about the budget. I was going to
Mhm.
talk about this at the end, but I will say I'm surprised, and maybe you guys can give some insights as to why this is so costly. I told Dan, I texted him after I watched this. He hadn't watched it yet, and I said I'm mixed on the movie, and I'll get into why I liked it. I said I liked it, but also I thought it looked very cheap the way it was shot, and I was surprised when I saw that the budget for it was $18 million. Now, obviously, I'm not a producer. I'm not Will Packer. I
Mm.
don't know where the money comes and where it goes and why it costs so expensive. I don't think that these two actors have too big of a name. Respectfully, I don't think they're as big as like Sydney Sweeney or Glenn Powell on that level. I was thinking maybe both of them got like $1 million, $2 million for this, something like that. The only thing I could think of is that this was shot I believe in Italy on location. So that's the only thing I can think of that maybe would drive that budget
And
so
that's
far
the
up.
answer. That is
Yeah.
the answer. I would assume they shot, I think, on the Amalfi Coast,
Okay.
which I like, and I think like for a movie like this, you want to have some like authentic, like I talked about earlier. I think you want to have like when you're making a rom com, have things that make it stand out, that give it some kind of unique flair. Um, and I think with the story itself, like if they shot this in like fucking North Carolina or something, you'd be like, what are we doing? Or like with green screen. I think if you're gonna do it, do it. But that's probably what cost a good bit of the cash.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
I think so too.
we can get into it a little bit. I'm excited to talk about it. So this stars Halle Bailey, obviously, and then Rajon. Oh, I can't. Can any of you guys
It's
pronounce his name
it's
better than I can?
Reggae Jean Page. Is that right, Megan?
Reggae Jean Page. That is a sick name.
Oh, I actually haven't heard his name said out loud, so my bad. But I'm a Bridgerton fan too, so I'm like, oh goodness, I didn't do my research on that one too deeply.
He's an interesting actor because if I haven't watched Bridgerton, but if I remember correctly, he left Bridgerton. Well, maybe not rightfully so, but like it made sense
He
why
did.
he left it because he was like, I think I'm gonna be like hot shit and I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do other stuff, if I'm not mistaken. And he's been in a couple things, but I think really this is the first movie where he's kind of been the leading man. He was in Black Bag, he was in The Gray Man. I love Dungeons and Dragons. He was like one of the supporting cast of Dungeons and Dragons, but this is like I think his first true lead role since leaving Bridgerton.
Yeah, and he was in I think he was really good in Black Bag. I mean, it was a very good movie. But yeah, this is his first, I would say, lead um since the show.
And I'm happy that he was willing to do that too. But how did you? Were you? Is he a fan favorite of yours on Bridgerton? Megan?
You know what he is, but he's only in one season, and so is
Oh wow.
the his love interest in that Daphne. So it makes sense that they don't really have a storyline because he's technically not really a part of the Bridgerton family because it was like the eldest daughter and she marries him and all this other stuff and they have like their little love story. So it made sense, but I think it's still like it didn't really feel like, oh man, Presence was missed, but season 1 is like a pretty good season. I think season 2 is the best, but that's a whole nother story.
So you're like a faithful fan. Have you watched what is it, Queen Charlotte? Have you watched like the spinoff too?
Yeah, Queen Charlotte is really good.
Nice, cool. Dan, have you watched it? You nodded your head a little bit.
I watched the season with him. And it was
Oh,
good. Yeah.
okay, nice. What's the movie that or the show that you watched that I was Outlander? You love Outlander, right?
Outlander's great, yeah.
Okay, that was something a new fact about my co-host here that I just learned. I'm trying to like keep a mental note of all the shows and stuff that Dan likes. So, but yeah, that starts the two of them, I would say, and a lot of like pretty Italian cast. I would say it seems like everyone is authentic to the setting where the movie takes place. It's directed by Kat Corio, who directed She-Hulk. So that's kind of cool that she transitioned from that to here. But then also in between that, when did She-Hulk come out? She-Hulk came out in 2022. She also had another film called Marry Me that starred Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson. Did you ever see that, Megan?
No.
Okay.
Like I really am not like a rom-com person, and like I haven't watched a Jennifer Lopez film like since Made in Manhattan or whatever, or like Monster-in-Law. So it's been a long time.
I'm not really a rom-com
Oh,
person either. I mean,
I do watch Selena though. Selena's a great movie.
Okay. I would say I'm not a rom-com person either. Dan will tell you I do not like comedies because I get uncomfortable when jokes are made, and if they don't make me laugh, I'm like, this is not working right now. But I will say, maybe to transition into the movie itself, let me give a brief synopsis here. It says a free-spirited American chef and reserved British lawyer embark on a whirlwind romance during a destination wedding in coastal Italy. Um, I guess that's right. This is from Letterbox. Sure, I'll take that synopsis. But my wife looked at me after this movie. I'll give my brief 2 cents, I guess, because it plays off of what I just told you, Megan. After we watched this movie, me and my wife, she looked at me and she's like, "I'm surprised that you laughed as much as you did because you do not like comedies that much." And I didn't think that you would find this stuff funny. And what I wrote on a Letterboxd is I thought this movie was solid, but the supporting cast here is just so fun and lively and bubbly and just a bunch of not annoying characters, but just really heartwarming and fun and real characters. It feels like a movie. It's like these are memorable people, and I will remember this movie because of these characters. But then in the background, you do have these two main leads who are able to carry this, and they have really good chemistry between the two of them, really good comedy between the two of them. Dan, like you said, the fact that this is about food, it's just a little difference, right? Just something special, something unique about this love story that you have Halle Bailey's character Anna, her connection to the culinary arts. It's just so refreshing and it feels so fitting for Italy. It was a good time. I will say I had fun with it. What about you, Megan, and then Dan, if you want to go after that?
Yeah, I thought it was very fun. I thought it was hilarious too. Very surprised about how hard I laughed. Like, I was like essentially scream laughing in the theater, which almost never happens too. So I'm just like, wow, especially for a rom com, like it is genuinely funny. It's not just like cheesy rom com funny. Like it is actually really funny.
Dan, what you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. Um, and again, like I kind of was saying earlier, like I don't think it's that hard to make this movie solid. Like for me personally, watching a romance or something like this, like I generally want characters that I like. Like I'm all for if it's a drama, like having complicated, characters, whatever. Like stuff like this, I want to feel like they're people I'd want to like hang out with and like have a beer with. And I feel like all the characters are generally likable. And I think with Anna, like I think it's kind of fun to have a character that doesn't feel like they have their shit together fully. Like she's just kind of like living
Mm-hmm.
and flying by the seat of her pants. And like I feel like, I've had some experiences, I guess, when I was younger where like just kind of doing shit and seeing what happens and going places and meeting people and like it's just fun. I feel like it kind of captured that energy really well. And I like the opening where like it sets it up like she's gonna be some like, rich person who like has it all together, and I was like, I don't know. But then it kind of like pulls the rug on that and then goes into the movie. Um, and I feel like it was a really nice, like simple story. I think the first like 15, maybe 20 minutes or so, um, felt a little like I don't want to say amateur, but like a little hallmarky, like the way it was edited, like the way it was shot. I was just like, all right. But like once you get to Italy and you get into like the meat of the story with the bulk of the characters and all, I feel like it really settles in. And I really enjoyed the rest of it, especially once um Michael and Matteo are both there. I thought it was good. And like, nice simple conflicts, like just a good solid story. And like you guys kind of said, the entire supporting cast is a lot of fun. Um, and I think the familial aspects of this have to work emotionally for the story to work. Um, and they do. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a solidly written, enjoyable movie. So yeah, I liked it.
I want to ask, what adventure did you have like Anna when you were younger?
Nah,
No, no. Where did you
that's
go?
not
Where did you
for
go?
not
Did
for
you go to
now.
Italy?
Not
Nah,
for
not
now.
Italy, but yeah, I just think like again, I think it's fun to have characters that and I think also, a lot of the great rom-coms of the 90s, I think were kind of like that. And I think having people that maybe don't feel like their life is the most stable, it's kind of more exciting. It feels like something's like I don't know. There's just a sense of like them uncertainty about them, and then I think them being able to find love and find romance just like makes it fit that much harder. Because like if it's a character that kind of has everything, and then it doesn't work out, okay, they'll go find someone else. Like it's just like I don't know. It's the stakes don't feel as high. Um, so like his character is very like lonely, and I guess has had struggles romantically, and is kind of in this life where he works all the time and is very isolated. So like having a chance at romance feels special for his character, and she's kind of obviously in another country and outside of her comfort zone in this place. So them coming together, I think, feels like satisfying.
I cannot
Mhm.
believe that Reggae Jean Page was struggling to find a romantic partner. I mean, maybe one with like a personality that matched his, but that's a good looking man. Like I even from afar, I've been like the women on the bus, watching them in the vineyard, been like, oh, respectfully, I'm just like, he's a good
Yeah,
looking guy.
he seems like a kind of guy that like keeps to himself. Like he's just kind of like doing his own thing. I don't know, but
See,
yeah, definitely.
the stuff like that though, it's like the movie when he takes off his shirt in the vineyard. The movie knows that that's like a stupid trope, and I think that's emphasized by all those women sitting in that bus being like, "Hell yeah!" Like it's like the audience is watching, but like, dude, you could squish my grapes anytime. This just like so good. Did you guys sit for
So
the end credits? And did you see that they were
Yeah,
just ad libbing? Okay.
I
it
did.
was funny.
Hmm.
But
It's
the
so
three the
good.
three
I
characters
I
that
love
stood
when
out to
movies
me.
do that where you get.
Go ahead, Megan.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I love when movies do that where you get like the ad libs and everything, and like what went on the cutting room floor. Like when a movie does it right, and that like the lines were actually really funny.
Yeah, when you say the movie does it right, it makes me think of this clip. I don't know if you see this sometimes, Dan, but it's a behind the scenes clip from the movie Fall Guy with Sean Levy, and he's talking about Taika Waititi, and he's like, "Dude, Taika Waititi was just going off, and he was just like his comedic genius was just crazy." And you see these clips, and everyone's just kind of silent watching him, just like ad lib, and nobody is laughing, and it's just like it could be either like this movie and be very hilarious for the entire crew, or you could have someone who thinks that they're being funny and ad libbing, just like this is very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I'm glad this
Um,
wasn't like that.
yeah, for sure. I think this movie did a good job with like establishing like common ground between these characters. I feel like a lot of times when I'm watching romances these days, the main question I seem to have is like, what do these people like about each other? Why are they connecting? What is it that like what common ground do they have? And I feel like that's oftentimes missing. And they're just like, well, they're both attractive, so like they're gonna be together. And I'm just like, it's simple stuff with this movie, but like they both lost their parents. Um, they both kind of had a passion that, one of them pursued and the other one doesn't. Those passions go hand in hand with the winemaking and food. Like, you know, um, they're a good pairing together in that way. Like it feels like, if they end up together, they're going to be working together and, they have similar passions and um the way the family kind of plays into that and bridges them with all this stuff is really nice. And I also like that there isn't some like huge terrible drama. Like there obviously is like, a simple misunderstanding that kind of gets escalates, but I feel like it escalates in a way that feels natural. Like it just feels like she's overwhelmed and there's all these people. She's
Mm.
like I said, out of her comfort zone. So like it doesn't feel forced like this would never happen or she would never do that or he would never do that in terms of Mateo. Like it feels like okay, I could see this sort of happening. Um and I feel like a lot of times these movies will make those kind of misunderstandings or like comedy of error kind of situations where you're just like, this feels really forced. Um, and talking about anyone but you, I'm just like, this whole thing is so forced. Like they could have just talked, like she just left his apartment or whatever, or he left her apartment and they just never talked about what happened. I just stuff like that bothers me. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna
I agree.
piggyback what you were saying, Dan, because like I do agree with all those points because like one of my biggest questions was like, while watching the trailer, when I actually did get to see the trailer and when I saw it like multiple times while going to the movies, is like why is she at his villa? That was my biggest question. Like, does she just decide, like, on a whim, I'm gonna just stay at this dude's house or whatever in Italy? But I like the reason why is because she, like, booked a plane ticket on a whim and he didn't have a place to stay and during a busy touristy weekend. So I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense for her character to do, and when we get a little bit more into the beginning, because it's not really like a spoiler, but you know, she is a house sitter originally and all that. And she's kind of like a down on her luck. So this opportunity is like all or nothing, really. So all the character decisions and how the lie came to be, it wasn't just like, oh, I want to lie to live an extravagant life, even though, she kind of is like that, but it's like there's a reason why she does these things.
And the thing is too is she wasn't even going to Italy at first to be in his home. It just happened to work out that way.
Yeah.
Because I think the whole thing
Yes,
is she was
exactly.
planning on booking a hotel, but then she didn't know that this fancy festival was going on, and then everything was booked. So she's like, well, "What
Exactly.
am I going to do? I'm going to just sleep on the ground." And then just so happens that she got to meet that lawyer, a British. This is a British lawyer. The synopsis, is that true? Is he British? He's not British. He's Italian.
No, he's not. He's in real estate and he's
Yeah,
from
yeah. He's not even a lawyer.
Italy.
Yeah, that's why I'm reading the synopsis. When I was reading it earlier, I'm like, I don't think this is right.
So I think that's talking about
That is not right.
I think that's talking about Michael and not Matteo. Because
He's
Michael
a real
was
estate
I
agent,
But
or he's a lawyer.
no, so the real estate agent
no,
is
but
is
Michael owned
is
a vineyard.
Matteo.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was in maybe he was in law and then he went to take over because he said his parents his dad like didn't want to maintain the property, so he like gave it to him. So maybe he was a lawyer and then left that job to go take care of the vineyard and just work the land when his
Maybe.
parents I don't know. But the lawyer thing I'm not too sure about.
I, I'm not sure either. I don't even remember the lawyer plot line, so there might be a weird synopsis, if any.
I have to ask you guys though. What are your feelings towards wine? Are you big wine people,
I like wine.
Megan?
Yeah, I mean, I don't drink anymore, but like I was when I did drink, I kind of was a wine person. I mostly was into like Pinots and Rieslings and like uh rosés and stuff. I was very much like that. Red wine, I hate it.
Like
I
a
would
nice
like to be one.
Malbec.
No,
Red wine's good.
I would.
Um,
It's Chardonnay and sugary wine for me all day long. Give me a good white with a lot of sugar, Moscato, or Chardonnay. Just pump it into my veins, and that's all I got really.
did this movie make you guys hungry?
Oh, yes.
Uh,
Oh, I want a
yeah,
bruschetta so bad.
is that bread that she makes with the tomatoes? I'm not a big tomato guy,
Yes.
so when she made, I was like, that looks good, but it
It
also
is
looks like there's
good.
a
Yeah.
pound of tomatoes on there, and I like ketchup. That's as close as I get to tomatoes. So I'm like, I
Jesus
don't think I like
Christ.
that.
They literally made fun of ketchup in the movie too. That's funny.
Ketchup. Just saying.
Well, I'm just speaking my truth. You asked me
Yeah,
a
no,
question,
I
and
was
now you're
really
attacking me
hungry
for
for
it. So
Yeah, I was
No, no
very
attacking. No
hungry
attacking.
for the bruschetta, the gnocchi that was they were making too. Oh my gosh, because I love Italian food. That's like my favorite type of food. Italian and Japanese, those are my two favorite like type of foods. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I want everything that's in that in that freaking movie. And then like how she did like we're not getting into spoilers, but yeah, one of the dishes that she makes, which is kind of like a fusion between like Southern food and like
Mhm.
Italian. I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds
that looks
amazing.
good. That shrimp in it. I'm a big shrimp guy, so hopefully that'll make up for
Mhm.
my tomato take.
Yes, for sure.
I wanted
Um,
to ask you guys. There's three characters that were just awesome in this movie, and they're my favorite parts of the movie. And I want you guys to rank these three characters based on how much you love them, because they were just the standouts of the movie to me. All respect to Hallie, all respect to Reggae. Like these were the standouts. It was Lorenzo, the cab driver, the taxi driver. It was Claire, the best friend, which the actress's name is Aziza Scott. I thought she had to be like famous or something. She is electric. She like just commands the screen when she's even speaking. You just get like dialogue from her, and you're just like glued. You're just like, this woman is so exciting and so funny. Anyways, and then also the sister. I thought the sister was really good. I think her name's Francesca, the one who's like banging the plumber or something like that, and like cheating on her husband.
is that Nia Vardalos, the lady from My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
No. I don't believe so. She was,
Yeah,
I
but she
Mrs.
does do a
think.
Dunn?
cameo at the beginning. She's a rich woman.
Oh yeah, she's the rich woman at the beginning.
Okay, got you, got you.
I believe the
Yeah, which I
sister's name
love
is
because I love My Big
Francesca.
Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah, I believe the sister's name is Francesca. Yeah, who did you like out of all those the best?
Oh my gosh, Francesca like cracked me up every time she was on screen. Like just the one-liners are really funny. But yeah, the best friend Claire, like she's also very funny too. Like that was like her dialogue. That's what I was like screaming laughing. Like her voicemail that cracked me up. She was just like, I don't have time to answer the phone. Why do you think I have time to listen to this long ass voicemail? That was so funny.
The funny part too was the whole line of like, he's got a brother and he's a brother. It was very funny. That was very funny.
So she was like, "You're gonna be in Italian Get Out."
That was good too.
Yeah.
Like she's just been, as from what I could see, she was just in this movie and also One of Them Days, which is also fantastic. I loved One of Them Days.
Oh, I love One of Them Days. Uh-huh.
So good for her. I think she's going to be a huge star if she's just getting started. These are two pretty solid movies to start out your career. Who knows? Maybe she's had some TV experience, something like that. But
I also thought like um the mother was really good, Isabella Ferrari. The grandmother was good. The father was good. Like, and I also thought the guy who played Matteo, Lorenzo D'Amore, like was also great. And I
I
think
have
it's
an
really
issue with
interesting.
Mateo's character.
Mhm.
No, I
Oh
I think
don't
yeah,
like
it's
the end
Mateo's
of it
character is
where he's
terrible,
like,
but great
he's all
actor.
buddies with them at the end though. Great actor. But he's like all buddies with them at the end, and he's like, "Yeah, go chase down Michael." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You just like made out with this girl." Like, I didn't like him at the end, and then he's there hugging the family, like, "We're all here supporting you." Like, why are you here, Mateo? Go away. Also,
wait,
Isabella,
wait,
my
wait, wait,
buddy.
wait. What did he do wrong? He did the same exact thing that Anna did. It's not real. Like he's just trying to reconnect with his family and he sees this opportunity. Like I feel like it's really understandable. What did he do wrong? It's not a real relationship.
Oh,
He was trying to force her to
oh,
do it,
that's a
though,
good hot
right? It was
take,
like
Dan. That,
it was
but
her. Yeah, it was her
still,
decision,
he
though.
was being mean to her.
I wouldn't say force.
Well, he was.
Like she was like he was like we're gonna go to New York and she was like no and he was like all right like
Yeah, I guess. I
it
would
Well, it
say
also
wasn't really like that.
Isabella
Okay, like here's
vanished.
the thing. Oh, what was that,
You got it, Megan.
Stone? I missed that.
I was
What'd
just
you say?
saying. I was saying Isabella vanished. Like his side girl, like she was just gone at the end of the movie. I'm like, what happened to her?
no she was in the last scene.
Oh yeah,
She was
he
there.
was.
Oh, she really? Oh, my bad, my bad.
Yeah, she was there. Yeah, I mean I feel like it's a situation where
So I
like
think.
go ahead Megan.
Oh, okay. Sorry, the dang delay. But I think, like, okay, the reason why I think people have beef with Mateo, and this is the reason why I did, he was just like, you know what? Maybe we should try this thing out with like Anna and all this stuff. And he was just like, okay. And then his boys come up, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna hang out with my boys. And then, like, the next day, he's like making out with Isabella. It's like, wait a minute, are you gonna try this or not? You know, like, don't say you're gonna try this relationship if you're just going to, like, still have Isabella as a side piece. You know what I mean?
I don't think he ever really wanted to do it. Like I feel like just like her, like mean, I think it's also interesting to have a romance where at the beginning, I would say there is like a genuine romantic connection. Like they spend a lot of time together. They're able to like talk and flirt, and it's like they're having a nice time. And he seems like,
Hmm.
he seems okay. So I think it's interesting to have that scene and then pivot into another romance. I mean, you don't often see that, I feel like. Um, but I also like that they didn't then make her be like, "Oh, maybe I like Mateo." She was like, "No, I like this other guy," because that would have been annoying. Like, because
I
Yes,
agree.
they could have done
I
that, and I'm
agree.
just like, I
I
hate
agree.
love triangles so much. I hate them. I like characters that like know what they want. So
You
And
know
there's
what is
no
really crazy about that, Dan? Like I like it with the context of this movie, I agree. It didn't not need a love triangle. And I liked the way that this love triangle quote unquote worked because it's so different. But I wouldn't be surprised if like people make like Wattpad freaking fan fiction of there being the actual love triangle because I'm just like, look, that does I could see because these characters are so dynamic and there's a lot to play with. Like I wouldn't be surprised if someone made fan fiction out of that.
yeah, that's fair.
I want to like love a franchise so much that I dive into fan fiction. Not like writing myself, but I'm like I've never even like dipped my toes in any of it. Like read anything, so I'm just like it's just a world out there with so many different things that I just don't know about. Like Hunger Games, I'm really into Hunger Games right now. You can only imagine fan fiction that's going on right there. Gail's a piece of shit though. I hate Gail. So Dan likes Gail. Don't you like Gail?
I really don't like PETA. I think PETA's really
I don't
annoying.
like either of them. But Gale is
Yeah.
so like There's so many times at the end of the series where he's like kissing Katniss, and he's like, "You didn't mean that." Like, bro, she's literally just got tortured in an arena for like 2 years in a row. She's being used as propaganda. Stop thinking about just kissing her and being with her for like 5 seconds. There's a war going on. Just chill out.
Yeah, I haven't rewatched those in a long while. I
People
probably
are
should do
dying.
that.
Yeah, Gail. There's more important things to go on. Also, the other part of this triangle is literally getting tortured in the Capitol and wants to kill the woman. So how about we just focus on that real quick? The woman, Katniss Everdeen, the Mockingjay. I don't want to call her the woman. Sounds disrespectful. I will say, Dan, in the newest book, the newest movie that's coming out, there is no love triangle. So
Nice. Can't wait.
Yes. Oh. Oh, it's so good. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Oh my gosh, November can't come any faster.
I will say something that's going to affect that maybe is around the same time Greta Gerwig's Narnia is coming out. So it will be interesting to see those two movies go against each other. I don't know how that's going to work,
For
but
2 weeks.
yeah, it's better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah. I think she might have actually fought for more than that. I'm not up to date on that
I think she
situation.
got 4 weeks, I think, which is
Okay.
crazy. But anything else you guys want to say about this movie? I'm sorry I spoke back. Mateo, I don't know. When he goes off with his boys and when he's just
Isabella like followed them out, and I was like, "Ooh, that's not good."
that's what my wife said too.
He's cooked.
And
Oh
Absolutely
yeah,
cooked.
that's right, she did.
I will say I was being in the theater with like mostly black audiences was super fun because I think they were like reactionary to a point where it was never like talking during the movie. It's just like whatever you're thinking. It was like a quite like a little comment like that, but it was like everyone. So it felt very communal, which was
Yes.
it was so fun. It was so fun because like everyone was like ooh
Yeah,
ooh, and
that's
it never got
how
annoying.
Yeah, I hate
that's
watching like
exactly how it goes.
yeah. I hate watching. I feel like comedy and horror, the audience should be reacting. Like, and those two genres are like so intertwined and similar, but like I don't like watching either one of those genres where everyone's just like fucking stone faced. It's not fun. Like it should be lively. And that's how actually my theater was as well. Um, but yeah, I like
Oh,
this movie.
I was gonna say we
So
forgot to mention one sequence that just had my theater in a riot when Reggae Jean Page is singing Mario. That was so funny
Yes.
because at first I think even Halle Bailey's character didn't know he was like good at singing, and then he like kind of starts out rough, but like the exact same time Halle Bailey's like, hold on, oh shit, like the entire crowd was like, wait, hold on. he's actually not that bad. He just like keeps going and going, and everyone was like super entertained by it. And at that point, I forgot, and I'm glad she did it later. I'm like, hold on, Halle Bailey can sing. I wonder if she's gonna sing it, and then she does, and I was like, this is great.
Yeah, no, they both
Right.
crushed
I
it.
love that so much. That was really fun. I'm trying to think of like another sequence that I really liked. Because this movie really felt like a delight. It was so much fun. My theater wasn't as lively, but I still had a blast watching it too. My mom and I went to watch it because she wanted to see this movie. I'm like, okay, we'll see it together. And we were we're like hoping that we weren't like being obnoxious, but I think it was like still fun. But like it was like I don't know, it was just like a good balance, to watch such a lighthearted movie after seeing like so many like dramatic movies that are out right now. Like after watching the drama, I'm just like, okay, I need to watch something lighthearted, and I'm glad this was like nice. It just felt warm and fuzzy and all that, and then I'll probably going doom and gloom movies that are out and my horror movies, but it's still it was just a nice change of pace, even though it is cheesy at the beginning, middle, and end. It's like a fun type of cheese.
Yeah. I really like the whole final sequence of after the father gets hurt, like them all coming together to make food and her cooking, and like I thought that was really nice. I like that sequence a lot.
So I already mentioned it, but the other sequence that got so much reactions out of the crowd because they just knew what was about to happen. And like I said, it's not taken seriously. It is taken as a joke. It was him taking his shirt off. And it's just, it's going to happen. It's a trope. And, it's just Halle Bailey's like, ooh, I mean, they're just like the perfect shot of his body. Like they know what they're doing and everyone's just having a good time. And it makes me think of a scene like, I think Twilight New Moon, where Taylor Lautner just whips his shirt off. The fastest anybody's whipped his shirt. No, dude, it's when Bella crashes her bike that one time and she like hurts her arm and she's bleeding a little bit.
Yes!
And he's like, rather than putting pressure on it, let me rip my shirt off. It's the fastest anybody's ever ripped
shirt off and then dab the blood off of her.
So that again, like I was saying, that is so serious in that moment that I'm glad that this was just like very much laughter and also like the body's not that bad for a grape crusher. I don't know what you call a winemaker, I guess. A grape crusher.
Grape crusher.
I mean, that's what he's doing. He's crushing grapes, making wine.
Oh, you know what I saw recently? That an old clip that's very fitting for that term that I just came up with. You remember that old news interview with that woman? She's like in a bucket of barrels, like like squishing grapes, and she falls out. Have you ever seen that, Dan?
A long time ago. I know what you're talking about.
She goes, ow, 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 ow. And it's like, respectfully, it sounds like she's dying. And they just cut back to people in the newsroom. And they're like, all right, well, I hope she's okay. Oh, that's what this movie was missing. I need a good grape crushing with the feet. That would have been good. That would have been a good chemistry moment between the two of them.
That would have been really good. Yeah.
Also, you can't have a moment where they're both getting drunk. I would say they're both getting drunk opposite each other, like drinking wine. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Oh, we get a little wine on the shirt. Oh, his button's coming up a little bit undone. Like, it's just good. I like it.
It's good. One scene that was missing, since we're kind of going into spoilers, but like, I was on Threads and I'm like, yes, this was missing. A Italian wedding scene. There needed to be an Italian wedding, like really good. And I think I saw like in the trailer that she's like trying on like a wedding dress or something. I don't know. I guess I went on the cutting room floor. I might be misremembering, but I'm like, there needs to be like a big Italian wedding. Because it's a rom-com. But I thought the ending was cute, though, regardless.
It was fun because the movie kind of deals with them planning a wedding that's not real, which I thought was funny.
Also, if they did a wedding, it might have been the budget's already high enough, and they're trying to squeak it out here. I will say, I was going to look at the box office. So the box office so far, let me look at worldwide. In the United States, it made $8 million worldwide. It made $1 million. Probably, unfortunately, me and Dan have talked about this with Sinners. When it comes to like black, like led movies, unfortunately, like internationally, they just do not really fuck with it, which is really sad to see. Like Sinners is mostly domestic, so hopefully. But the thing is, I think we talked about this too. The more and more we get movies like this made, the more and more people will go and see it. When it comes to just the world in general, they should already. But so $9 million so far.
Exactly.
I think an $18 million budget, so it needs like 45 million to like break even. I think it'll do okay when it comes to at least streaming down the line. I think this will be a big streaming movie. So
I agree, and my
Oh
hope is
yeah, for sure.
like I said, I think looking at the reviews and stuff, and looking at the critical reception, I think it'll get good word of mouth. So my hope is that it can um, do well over time. I'm definitely going to talk about it because like I had a nice time. I can't see I don't think anyone's going to go see this and be like mad that they saw it. I think they'll
no,
enjoy it. And I think the two leads are just really likable as well, and they're both people that I hope will have good careers, and I think will. I would assume. Um,
hmm
but I guess we'll see.
yeah, hopefully. I think this is a
hmm
good opening
Yeah, I
weekend for the
mean,
two of
my
them.
only note is like, yeah, I think like my only note as far as like acting and everything, like I think Regé-Jean Page is like amazing. I think Halle Bailey, she's a great actress. I mean, this is not her first time like acting, because she's done like TV and of course like Ariel and all this other stuff. But she definitely needs to be in more roles like this and really hone her acting chops. And even her sister too, Chloe. I mean, I'm kind of going off in tangent, but like she's also a really good actress as well, and they're just better as musicians together. Like their individual projects are okay, but like when they want to do like individual acting projects, they stand out. So like I think they are gonna
She,
have good careers, you know.
she's also really young too. She's 26, so like
Wow,
she'll be
hmm
around.
she's got a bright future. And also, when it comes to the box office for next week, there's not anything that should be in the same genre as this. So I think it'll have a pretty good hold, especially with good word of mouth. I think it's got pretty good ratings across the board. I think it got an A- when it came to a cinema score. So that's
Mhm.
good with word of mouth and everything like that. Because next week, I mean, we'll talk about it. You have like a couple horror movies coming out. The Mummy, Lee Cronin's The Mummy, and then also Mother Mary. So not necessarily anything that should, you know, dip into this box office at all. Different audiences there, I would say. Dan,
hmm
on a scale of 1 to 10,
You
how
know, I
excited are you
think
for Mother
it's a
Mary?
good bit.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Megan. You can finish first.
Yeah, Megan, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's actually a good sign. I think like it will have a good second week,
100%. Yep.
a good second weekend because one thing that's really good about a lot of movies being either drama movies like out in the theaters or something that everyone has seen so far, there's now like a safe option for people to just watch that are not really into that genre. So because that's one thing too, and also it's a PG-13 movie as well, so it's like there's been a lack of like PG-13 movies that are out too. A lot of them are R-rated, and I remember like I was on TikTok and like someone was talking about that. I'm like, that is so true. A lot of like the popular movies are like rated R, so there's not really anything for like a younger audience or people that just don't like R-rated movies out. So I think that it will have a good second weekend.
I think it's also like I think some people find it harder, especially with like romance and like rom-coms and stuff, to write a funny movie that's PG-13 as opposed to R. Like when you can't just make like lazy ass sex jokes or like dick jokes every 5
100%.
seconds. Like it's actually you have to write stuff that's actually funny with like funny people and characters. I think it's more difficult. So I like to see funny PG-13 stuff, and it has obviously um it's easier for it to make money when it's not R. So I think that's really good.
Dan, that's a great point. Maybe I like PG-13 movies more when it comes to comedy because I watched
If it's actually funny, yeah, for sure.
yeah, I told Dan like Ready or Not 2, like Ready or Not 2, a lot of its comedy personally for me was just saying like the F word a million times in different variations and tones. And that's just not
hmm
funny. That's just not funny to
Yeah.
me. I know it's funny to other people, but that just drives me
hmm
crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point. Maybe
hmm
PG-13 they have to be more more thoughtful when it comes to their comedy. They can't just do like crude jokes or just swear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty real take.
Stone, you just brought up a really great point about Ready or Not too, because I was like, that was actually a lot of the comedy was just like F-bombs. The only part that actually did make me laugh a lot in this movie was like the explosion and stuff, because I love dark comedy, so it's just like, the first and second like body explosion thing. I thought that was hilarious, but other than that, I'm like, it's not really that funny.
Dan, you didn't get to watch Ready or Not 2 yet?
I haven't watched Ready or Not 1.
Oh, spoiler, bodies explode. There's blood.
Oh, it's ruined.
Wait, did you watch Abigail?
Yeah.
I'll say it's the same. It's the same directors. At the very end of that movie, they just love bodies exploding. So
yeah, that movie to me was just like,
I'm curious what you'll think if you ever watch those movies. But Megan, thanks for joining us. This has been great.
Yeah.
Did you want to tell people where they could find
great.
you?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, thanks for having me. You could find me on TikTok, Instagram, and X at Meganzworld. That is MEAGANZ World. And you can find me on YouTube at Tea and Popcorn. You'll see my face. So yeah, there's multiple Tea and Popcorn profiles, but I'm like the original Tea and Popcorn. So yeah, you could see that, and for movie reviews and commentary, and also follow me follow my podcast at Tea and Popcorn Pod. So yeah.
There we go. I say
sweet.
Thank you so much, everyone. Please, and the Z. Remember the Z, Megan's World. That was important. That stuck out to me. There's a Z with Megan's, so that's where you can find her.
Yes, and my name is spelled MEAGAN. So that's another thing too. That's why I spell it out when I'm on my podcast. When I'm on podcasts, I'm like MEAGANZ World.
I would say it's like more difficult maybe to find you, but it also makes you more unique at the same time, which is good. That it's a unique spelling.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So Dan, I will say, how excited are you for Mother Mary? Have you watched Mother Mary yet?
No, I have a screening. You just reminded me of it. Hopefully I didn't miss it. There is a screening. I just found something out about that movie.
Oh,
that's not great.
Oh no, Dan! Stop reading the news. You just gotta
So
get rid
I'll
of all
quickly
articles.
say there's a band called Mother Mary. That's a duo of women. And their story is basically they escaped some religious cult and started making this music, and their like branding and all of their visuals and the sort of story that they went through seems to be the story of the movie. So they've been speaking about it and being like, yo, like we're getting a lawyer, you ripped off all our shit. So like I was consider I might actually try to talk to them and see what the story is, because it doesn't look great, but hopefully if something like that did happen, they'll get a lawyer and do something about it. But like, that shit's also expensive, and they're not huge. But I was looking through it yesterday and it seems like there's at least a legitimate gripe there.
Do they have any relationship at all with Lowry?
No, it's not something where like they were consulted or
Right.
asked about their stuff. It seems like maybe their story and what they do and their kind of aesthetic was just sort of observed, and someone was like, this would be a cool movie. Like, so I'm gonna dig into it. I'm not gonna say anything about it until I do.
Okay. Well, next week we're either
But I
going to
was
talk about that
excited.
movie, or I said we'll either talk about that movie, or we'll talk about Lee Cronin's The Mummy, or we'll talk about both. So look out for that next week. Again, please, everyone, go follow Megan, MEAGANZWORLD. Yes, there we go. The tea and popcorn. Popcorn and tea, or tea and popcorn?
Tea and popcorn.
Tea and popcorn. There we go. There we go. Yes. Well, thank you everybody for listening to us this week. Talk about You, Me, and Tuscany. Let us know what you thought. Wherever you're listening to this, whether it's on a streaming service, Spotify, Apple Music, or on YouTube. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please support this film. We all liked it, but also just so we can get films like this, more diverse films when it comes to romance. It's always a good thing. There's a lot of people out there who are looking for love, and they want to see themselves represented on the big screen. So anyways, please, though, not only watch a good movie this week, but go outside, sit on a park bench, take a breath in, breath out. Just relax. Enjoy life. And we'll see you next week. Peace out, everybody.